Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to compare 30 Indonesia versus rest of the world. Hope you enjoy the video and learn something new. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and comment your ideas about the video too. So let's get into the video. Area of 30 Indonesia exceeds 57 million square kilometers, and it exceeds 147 million square kilometers in rest of the world. Population of 30 Indonesia is 8.3 billion, and the population of rest of the world is 7.6 billion. Population density of 30 Indonesia is 146 per square kilometer, and it's 52.1 per square kilometer in rest of the world. Coastline of 30 Indonesia is 1.6 million kilometers long, and the coastline of rest of the world is 1.1 million kilometers long. GDP nominal of 30 Indonesia is $38 trillion, and it's $98 trillion in rest of the world. GDP per capita nominal of 30 Indonesia is $4,623, and it's $12,869 in rest of the world. There are 450 billionaires in 30 Indonesia, and there are 2,638 billionaires in rest of the world. There are 6.3 billion internet users in 30 Indonesia, and there are 3.89 billion internet users in rest of the world. Indonesian is the most spoken language in Indonesia, and it's English in rest of the world. Islam is the most followed religion in Indonesia, and Christianity is the most followed religion in rest of the world. GDP PPP of 30 Indonesia is $120 trillion, and it's $136 trillion in rest of the world. GDP per capita PPP of 30 Indonesia is $14,336, and it exceeds $17,000 in rest of the world. There are more than 11 million active personnel in 30 Indonesia, and there are more than 18 million active personnel in rest of the world. There are more than 8 million reserve personnel in 30 Indonesia, and there are more than 21 million reserve personnel in rest of the world. There are 9,420 battle tanks in 30 Indonesia, and there are 103,040 battle tanks in rest of the world. There are 13,830 aircrafts in 30 Indonesia, and there are 37,157 aircrafts in rest of the world. There are 8,460 warships in 30 Indonesia, and there are 8,864 warships in rest of the world. There are 150 submarines in 30 Indonesia, and there are 501 submarines in rest of the world. There are no aircraft carriers in 30 Indonesia, and there are 21 aircraft carriers in rest of the world. There are no nuclear weapons in 30 Indonesia, and there are 13,133 nuclear weapons in rest of the world. Defense budget of 30 Indonesia is $279 billion, and it's $1.99 trillion in rest of the world. Let's compare the population growth of 30 Indonesia and rest of the world from 1950 to 2022. Population growth of 30 Indonesia is 302%, and it's 216% in rest of the world from 1950 to 2022. Top exported product of 30 Indonesia is palm oil, and it's crude oil in rest of the world. Refined petroleum is the top imported product in Indonesia, and it's crude oil in rest of the world. Total exports of 30 Indonesia is $5.3 trillion, and it's $21 trillion in rest of the world. Total imports of 30 Indonesia is $5.7 trillion, and it's $21.2 trillion in rest of the world. Life expectancy of Indonesia is 72 years, and it's 72 years in rest of the world. Median age of Indonesia is 29 years, and it's 30 years in rest of the world. Fertility rate of Indonesia is 2.2 birth per woman, and it's 2.3 birth per woman in rest of the world. Birth rate of Indonesia is 17.1, and it's 17.6 in rest of the world. Death rate of Indonesia is 6.6 per 1,000 people, and it's 5.1 per 1,000 people in rest of the world. Literacy rate of Indonesia is 96%, and it's 85% in rest of the world. Poverty rate of Indonesia is 10.1%, and it's 8.2% in rest of the world. There are 1.4 beds per 1,000 people in Indonesia, and there are 2.9 hospital beds per 1,000 people in rest of the world. Average monthly income of Indonesia is $385, and it's $1,072 per person in rest of the world. 483 million tourists arrived to Indonesia in 2019, and 1.6 billion tourists arrived to rest of the world in 2019. 91% households has electricity in Indonesia, and 89% of households has electricity in rest of the world. HDI of Indonesia is high, and the HDI of rest of the world is medium. There are 1,110 Olympic medals in 30 Indonesia, and there are 16,739 Olympic medals in rest of the world. There are 240 gold Olympic medals in 30 Indonesia, and there are 5,454 gold Olympic medals in rest of the world. There are 420 silver Olympic medals in 30 Indonesia, and there are 5,409 silver Olympic medals in rest of the world. There are 450 bronze Olympic medals in 30 Indonesia, and there are 5,876 bronze medals in rest of the world. Let's compare the age structure of Indonesia and rest of the world.